I'll be talking to you about areas around pricing. What we're going to look at first is 4 key elements of pricing. And here's the 4 key elements. There's price, there's cost, there's profit, there's value. Price is not just about price. That's the amount that you charge to your customer for your product or service. As well as price, you've got a cost. It's one thing charging your customer, but how much is it actually costing you to produce and deliver that product or service to your customer? Those, by the way, are what we term variable or direct costs that relate directly to making the sale. Realistically, what you get coming into your business is not really the price you're charging to the customer, it's the profit. The difference between the cost to your business of delivering that product or service and the price paid by your customer for the product or service. That's your gross profit. And of course, what else comes into pricing is value. So what we've really got to consider is the customer's perception of what the product or service is worth, irrespective of the price actually paid. Now, sometimes we can pay a low price and think that it's great value, and sometimes we can pay a high price and think it's not good value, or vice versa. The starting point for determining your prices is to do your research. Before you start deciding on prices, find out who your potential customers are and what is their perception of the value of your product or service. And that's your absolute key starting point. Once you've got some research, you can start looking at the methods of pricing your products and services. If you are going to make, create, deliver, manufacture your product or buy in your product or service, then you've got to work out the cost of that making, creating, buying in, and add on to that the amount that you need to achieve the required profit. Now, there's also value-based pricing, and that's based on the perceived value of your product or service, and your research, and you're determining who are your target customers. What is their perception of value? What price would they expect you to charge? Now, when working out those prices, what have we got to think about? You've got to set a price that's sufficient to cover all of your costs and generate a profit. There's lots of areas where you've got to research your competitors' prices and use them as a framework for setting your own prices, but please do check and see if their pricing strategy is successful. Do not emulate a competitor who is underpricing and not making any profit. Setting your prices too low will lose your profit and it won't necessarily gain you sales. Don't forget, people match value to price and so on. And whilst you're thinking very carefully about your price, your customer is educated to think within a price range. On the other hand, if you set your prices too high, it may put off potential buyers. However, if you're going to negotiate, it is easier to discount on a higher price than to increase a lower price. You start setting your prices too low, then try going back to your customers and saying, do you know what, I'm not making enough profit, I'm going to put up my price. You're going to get some resistance. You work out your prices and your customers relate price to value, and if you've done your research, you'll have clear awareness of this.